Some breaking news from the Southeastern Conference. Gunnar Stockton named SEC Player of the Week again. I believe this is the second time this season. Here's the announcement. This is the fourth time a Georgia player has been SEC Player of the Week. This is the second time for Stockton. There's some interesting data in here. He's splitting the award with Diego Pavia, who really did have a good day against LSU. Uh, Gunner went 26 of 31 for 289 yards, four touchdowns throwing it, 10 carries for 59 yards, and a touchdown. This is the good stat from Georgia. He said, they wrote, Gunner Stockton led the team to score on its first 8 drives. Of course, the ninth drive, they just took a knee, making Georgia the first team to accomplish that feat versus an AP top 10 opponent since 2016. The guys in the sports information department go on to say, Gunner is the first quarterback to go 12 for 12 or better and a half against an AP top 5 opponent since Aaron Rodgers did it against number 1 SC in 2004. So quite a monumental accomplishment for Gunner with some of the things that he did. Very, very good work by Trey Leland, Lakos, and company at I'm sure I'm leaving someone out at Georgia with that information. It's a lot of really good information to process and to get a hold of. Gunnar Stockton is becoming one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He is playing efficient football. He is playing effective football. He is leading one of the best teams in the country. A team that this Georgia team, which if Georgia didn't have the loss to Alabama and Alabama didn't have the loss to Florida State, one of the two of them would be the number 1 team in the country. Instead, we've got Ohio State and Indiana's probably played better on the whole than everybody in the country so far. But there's no question that Georgia and Alabama specifically, I would say, have played far more challenging schedule and games than their Big Ten brethren. And I don't know if that's going to show up at the end of the season in the playoff or not. With the way the SEC schedule is, you could get a lot of one-loss teams and an undefeated or so. I mean, you've got Ole Miss, Georgia, Alabama. They all have one loss. Now you have Texas A&M, who is sitting there undefeated. Is that going to continue? So it is going to be tricky, generally speaking, getting this thing to the finish line. But for Georgia, you're going to go up against a Florida team that doesn't have a coach. Let me just continue with some of the one losses, and these can't mathematically continue. But you have Texas, Vandy, Oklahoma, Missouri, Ole Miss, Georgia, and Alabama, and those ones are all with one losses in the league. Alabama and Texas A&M are undefeated in the league. Texas A&M, is the curious one of all of them because I'm not sure where we're really at with Texas A&M in terms of their future. But Gunner just, he just really has played well. Texas A&M has 5 games remaining at LSU, at Missouri, hosting Carolina, and then at Texas. So they definitely a little bit like Ole Miss in that they have started their season a little bit later than everybody else, but they've started their season. But Ole Miss is not playing any of those. Is not playing Texas A&M. I don't think they're not playing Alabama. So it's Georgia's had Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss. I mean, so they've had 3 legitimate top 15 showdowns when they played. And the reason why they've gone so well this season is because Gunnar Stockton's been unbelievable so far. I've had a rough morning, but I am going to crack open a free bird because I'm hoping this water from the North Georgia mountains is going to make me feel better. I think it will. It really is an outstanding thing to be able to take it with you, and it's better. I mean, I will say it's better than water, a bottle of water. I'm not sure I anticipated that, but it is. Mama always said to drink more water, and if you're not knocking these out during your weekend festivities, you're making a mistake as it relates to your recovery and so forth. But I don't. I mean, I drink them after workouts. I'm just under the weather currently. That's really all that's going on. But for Gunner, um, he missed practice the last two this time last week, the first 2 days of practice. So that was probably concerning for the Georgia staff. Um, he did not miss the game. I've not rewatched the game. Obviously, I saw it live, but I have not rewatched the game. But the way that he played was just, I mean, after watch, I don't know what you say about it. And it was really exceptional. 26 of 31 for 289 yards, 4 touchdowns, a 36-yarder. I think that was the Dylan Bell. Yeah, that was the Dylan Bell, and that was really a neck breaker for Ole Miss. As good as Trinidad Chambliss was as a player, he only had 42 yards rushing. Ole Miss really could not run the ball effectively. And that's that to me at the end of the day, that's what really killed them, because Georgia had 20 more plays. They had the ball for a quarter, basically longer than Ole Miss did. And then when you're running for 221 to Ole Miss's 88, it's just not the same at all. And this is a good Georgia team. I think there's so much we've learned. This is really we're seven games into this, but this is the halfway point right now of the season, and there's much to learn along the way. Georgia is one of the I believe they're the only SEC team, no, South Carolina, that has played 5 games in conference play. So Georgia is more than halfway through their schedule in the SEC, and we know a lot about the Dogs. I was reading Bill Conley. I was scanning Bill Conley, and I read the part about Texas and Georgia that he had to say over at ESPN, talking about how you can trust their grittiness, I think was the term, or their toughness. You can totally do that with this team and this program, but they are this team. This team has more to offer. They're not where they need to be yet, but they are close. They are close. And by the way, you can get these free birds with the link down below or in the QR code on the screen. They are close. The defense right now is the problem. And if you had that on your bingo card for this season, good for you, because there was a lot of worry about Gunner. There's always worry about Mike Bobo. I think that can be kind of overdone sometimes, and perhaps the concern about Glenn Schumann is overdone. I don't know. I mean, some of this is that Georgia has played some really good offenses at the beginning of this season. That's a lot of this. So far this season, in the first 7 games, Georgia has played Alabama, the number 11 passing offense, Ole Miss number 8, and then Tennessee number 6. They don't. I don't believe that they play. I need to see if Georgia Tech is throwing. Yeah, they will not play an explode. When I say explosive, I mean passing. They will not play anybody outside of Mississippi State is 68th passing it in the country. Texas is. I just zoomed right past them there. They're 70-something. Georgia Tech is 66. So you've got some more favorable matchups in this thing. Georgia's 62, so not great on that part. But that's not what Georgia does. That's not who they are. They are a run-first team, and they have a quarterback that gives them the capability to just consistently make plays. I think moving forward, you're looking at a team in the Dogs that and I'm surprised they are not ranked higher running the football. So Georgia Tech's at 12, and Georgia is at just running it nationally. Georgia's at 36. So they're averaging 190 yards a game. Georgia Tech is averaging 230. Not quite 230, 228. So you're going to be dealing with some teams that are a little bit more predicated on what Georgia's pretty good at doing, which is stopping the run. Um, but I think for Gunner, 2 SEC Players of the Week. We're 7 games into the season. The schedule looks less daunting now than it did at the beginning of the season or at the end of the year, but it's still going to be tricky for Georgia to get to 11-1. I don't know if they should win all of the remainders of their games, but when you start stacking it up statistically, that becomes really trickier to run the table. But it's certainly something that I think Georgia fans are going to expect down the stretch here. I think probably the Texas game will be the most difficult physically, but everyone will be talking about Georgia Tech. The difference with Georgia Tech is they are not at all playing the teams that Georgia and Texas and Alabama are playing. They are not at all playing those teams. Like, for instance, Tech would beat Kentucky, but they would struggle with Kentucky. Tech can beat Georgia, but I would not pick Tech right now. I would not pick Tech right now. But we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what this is going to look like in a few weeks. Well, like a month, whatever it will be. It's a quick turnaround for Georgia as well. So that's not great. But I think for Gunner, this is an outstanding start to the season. Is Georgia getting better? They are offensively for sure. Are the concerns about the defense predicated on performances exclusively or on results from those performances? There's been times when the defense has really, really been good. They are not talented the way that they were. No one is. So I think you still have growth. You have room for growth from this Georgia team and this program. Can they get where they got to go by the end of November? It's possible they go 11-1 and don't play for the Southeastern Conference Championship. So that's something to keep in mind too. But this is really about surging towards the holidays. That's really what this is more than anything. And Gunner Stockton is going to try and help them get there. Thanks for watching.